There's a lot of people that would love to open the doors and bring as many people as we can. But at the same time, there's this issue of the impact it has on the infrastructure and services over here. And that's the debate that we're having today a lot in the UK is that it, there is a line where we say too much, it's too much now because services are going down at a time when we have increasing inequality. So that by itself is causing a lot of issues. And then add more people to the system, services go down. We've had 15 years of austerity where the government's kind of already reducing costs. And I guess that's why people feel very strongly about this because they feel like people in the country are struggling. And now we're bringing other people, which we understand kind of, it's an awful situation that they've come from. And that's the difficulty for a lot of
Let
people.
me throw out an illustration of what might be down the road that might kind of
Yes, please.
crystallize this a little more. As you know, um, there's a war on in Ukraine. By the way, I'm Ukrainian in background. We all come from
Okay.
somewhere, I don't know, Ireland or Mexico or wherever I came. My forefathers came from Ukraine. I was born in Canada, but I'm Ukrainian in background. And there's a projection. I actually wrote about this on forums that if Ukraine loses that war, and there's an expectation that there would be about 20 million Ukrainians who would exit the country to flee from Ukraine if Russia were to win that war. When the war started, 12 million people were uprooted, 12 million. And of the 12 million, 6 million exited into Europe. It was a pretty extreme situation. Now, over time, half of those 6 million returned back to Ukraine, thinking, well, somehow we can do this. But 20 million, imagine 20 million people coming into Europe were Ukraine to lose that war. Uh, no country in Europe can handle 20 million refugees. And of course, the Middle East and what's going on in Gaza and so on. Another example of what could, you know, open up a sudden flood of people headed out. Now, I work with Pace Law Firm in Toronto, and we're dealing with that all the time as well. Sort of the settlement aspect of bringing in immigrants. And as you point out, my earlier remarks about the sort of the outline of what would be a better approach to immigration, this sponsorship, it deals with that issue. That issue, in my view, can be dealt through this by improving the idea of sponsorship or linking sponsorship to anybody who's coming in, other than economic migrants, immigrants who are coming, for example, investors, entrepreneurs, or people like that who are self-sustaining basically, and who offer help to others by offering jobs and so on. So we, as part of our work with immigrants at Pace Law Firm here, we have to sort out these issues of settlement. Language is an important issue in Canada. You have to know either English or French. And if you have family, then you have more likelihood that you'll be accepted as a immigrant, et cetera. Those are the criteria that are imposed. But basically, at the end of the day, the ruling party or government has to set out the rules by which they want to deal with immigration. And the key idea is you want to favor those who follow the immigrant rules and punish those that do not follow the rules, so that line up. Just to help understand these things a little better, it's important to know that virtually every country, I'm sure in the UK, but just to illustrate, in the United States, uh, each year Congress decides how many people they're going to want to settle in the United States, how many immigrants they want. And the number, historically, it's been about 1,250,000, let's say, is a rough number. So they set that global number for immigration, and then they divide that up by countries. They say, okay, no country can get more than 7% of the global number of immigrants. And you as a migrant are chosen based on where you were born, not on what citizenship you have, but where you were born. So for example, Indians from India who may be Canadian citizens and want to immigrate to the United States will be disadvantaged by the fact they were born in India in terms of the global number of people per year that will be allocated to Indian born people.